I came across this old Sumerian word, Azu, A-Z-U. And A-Z-U apparently means one who knows water. It's a kind of a physician, a doctor in the ancient Sumerian terminology. And specifically, the doctor, the physician, was called one who knows water. And this beautiful word, Azu. And if you put an R and an E at the end of it, you have azure, like the Azure coast, azure blue, the Mediterranean. Then I thought to myself, wait a minute, if you put a W in front of it, a W for water, isn't it funny how these things come together? You're going to laugh at this. You've got Wazu. And I often joke, literally for the last 20 years, I've been joking about, putting the water up the wazoo. And there we have it. It actually fits perfectly. So we have the Azu, the one who knows water, who is the doctor, the highest doctor in the Sumerian kind of concept of doctor. And we have Azure and the W for water, and we have the wazoo. So this really comes literally full circle up the wazoo. I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope you do too. Speaking of water up the wazoo, let's talk about some of the things related to colon cleansing and irrigation. And one of the most common questions is how much water to use in your enema. Whether or not you have an enlightener or you have a great colon hydrotherapist close by, anyone who's really serious about colon irrigation and healing the body, because the two go hand in hand, because remember, the physician is the one who knows water. I say generally make sure you have about 45 minutes to use the enema bag. If you can give yourself more time, give yourself more time. Definitely don't give yourself less time, because there's nothing worse than having sort of a half-baked enema. I was going to use another term, but I thought I'd just remain ladylike. So give yourself enough time and make sure that you're not going to feel rushed, especially when things get exciting toward the end. Often there's a lot of good releases in the beginning and then at the end, and sometimes it's it can be a bit dull in between. It really just depends. But 3 to 4 fills, 3 to 4, when I say fills, 3 to 4 full 2-quart enema bags will probably be about what you need. Sometimes it'll be 5, depending. Sometimes it'll be an hour, depending. So giving yourself plenty of time is really important. And depending on where the matter is sitting in the colon, you'll be able to take more or less water in the beginning. You never want to force the water. You just want to take enough so that you feel like it's going in. And the second you feel pressure, you clamp the tube so that you stop the water. And you can either, if you haven't taken too much, you can sit with that and let it reconstitute, or you have to get up and empty. So then you would just repeat that process again and again and again. As the water gets reconstituted, it will trigger the peristalsis, which is the muscular contractions that move the waste out of the body. And as soon as the matter reaches a sort of requisite moistness, it will become kinetic and it will start to move. So this is why water is just so powerful. This Azu, this Dr. Water, it is. When you think about it, it's off the charts. The fact that when you think about our terrain, our internal terrain, and the terra firma, it's the same thing. When you have the right moist conditions, then you have arable land, but otherwise you have the dryness of a desert where things don't grow, because remember that water is flow. So they don't grow because they're not moving, and movement is the quintessence of life. That's why the Taoists always talk about flow. Everything must be in flow. The quintessence of youthfulness is flow. So when you think of youthfulness, think about flow. It's very easy when you compare it to the calcification that comes with what we would regard as advanced age. So, I always like to say that we don't age from the number of times we go around the sun. We age by the amount of accumulation we incur by what we do, what we consume, how we engage with life as we go around the sun. And that accumulation is obstruction, it's a saturation, which impairs flow, which impairs conductivity. Your internal terrain is not unlike the Earth's terrain. It also requires water. And one of the things that people will often get in a huff about with colon cleansing is they'll say, well, aren't you going to wash out all the good bacteria? And well, no, because you don't even have that good flora. It's not even active because your intestine is so dry. So how can you have, it's a fantasy to think that there's all this, this flora in an intestine that is dry as the Arizona desert. So it's through the hydration, it's through this Azu, the water doctor, that is going to restore that if it's going to be restored. If the water is not introduced, there's no way to generate flora. You can do implants till the cows come home, but it's never going to take. You're never going to have a kind of a restoration of your terrain. You have to bring the water in to wash away that which has created this dry desert-like conditions in and on your terrain, and only then, once that's removed, is there the opportunity to have a truly moist internal system that can then generate this good flora.